Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you say
She's
categorically,
asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave Vs The MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. You can join us every Sunday for our live radio show called Operation Freedom, which airs out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, out of Wham Talk 1600's Freedom Bunker every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. It's easy to listen to anywhere around the world. Just go to davejanda.com, hit the Listen Live button. That'll take you to Wham Talk 1600 streaming service. Hit play, and you're with us. Great guests, great analysis, information. The bought-off lamestream fake media will never touch. Why? Because their goal is to misinform you, disinform you, keep you uninformed, because it makes you an easier target for them to strip you of your remaining freedoms and liberties. Today's topic is the deep state's next, not shoe, but boot to drop. Because let's face it, they don't just drop shoes, they drop boots. And they love to place their boots right here on all of us. The people that they call useless eaters. That's what they call us. That we're not part of the elite group. And that all the rest of us are using resources that were originally meant for them. And that they believe they can call an end to us useless eaters whenever they wish. We experience this on a daily basis. I mean, let's face it. It's the deep state that's behind economic turmoil, financial turmoil, societal turmoil, wars. That's not being a conspiracy theorist. It might be conspiracy, but it's conspiracy reality. You see, they try to marginalize each and every one of us who calls them out as being conspiracy theorists. They try to marginalize us so that the millions and frankly, billions of people don't pay any attention to the facts, the data, the truth, and the science. You know, one of the pet rats of the deep state is a guy by the name of Klaus Schwab. He's the head of something called the World Economic Forum. Think of that as a globalist confab. Klaus Schwab, a year ago, now remember, I cannot mention the V word on YawnTube, because if I do, this video is gone, and, well, we get deplatformed. But Klaus Schwab, at the very beginning of what occurred in January 2020, made reference to and said that it represents a rare opportunity to reset the world. You see, this guy has been pushing this concept of the Great Reset. And think of the Great Reset as the elite gain more power, more money, and more control. And us useless eaters, well, we just get hammered. Yeah. So he saw as a great opportunity, as all the elites did. But now, Klaus Schwab recently at the World Economic Forum came up with the following. And this, I believe, is the next boot that is not only going to fall, but be put right here on each and every one of us that they determined to be useless eaters. Here's what he said, quote, "We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack could bring a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, and our society as a whole. The crisis would be seen in this respect, listen, as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our unpreparedness for a potential cyber attack." End quote. That's the next shoe to drop, folks, or next boot. And we need to realize that. You see, their philosophy is they see us as being in the shower, and they're flushing the toilet. And in their warped minds, they think that if they give us a bit of a heads up, that ethically, no matter what they do to the rest of the world, it's justified because they gave us a heads up. Just as he gave us a heads up about in January of 2020, this rat has given us another heads up. Now remember, these are the same people that are telling you that a cyber attack is not only possible, but occurring regularly. And it's only going to get worse. But they're also the same people that tell you, and I can't mention the word again, in November, this past November, there was no chance there was any cyber attack. Right? Right. Give me a break. Give me a break. This is a topic we cannot go into on YawnTube because of, that old pesky First Amendment thing that they don't like to acknowledge. I encourage you to go to davejana.com, and near the top of the homepage is, I believe, the most important document in the past year written by the lead cyber warfare expert in the world, Dr. Naya. I suggest you read that. The deep state doesn't want you to. But he's telling us, well, yeah, this cyber warfare, this cyber attack thing could really be big. Well, they're already, their pet rat is China, right? The deep state's pet country, the technocracy that they created in China, is what they want for the entire world. From Joe Heft recently, China behind another cyber attack in the United States, hacked into U.S. computers and networks, accessing systems remotely. The communist Chinese regime is behind another hack attack in the United States. This time they're using a vehicle that many individuals and companies use to remotely connect to the internet. And then, of course, as you know, we recently had the Colonial Pipeline issue. From Zero Hedge, cyber attack forces shutdown of largest gasoline pipeline in the United States. The largest gasoline pipeline on the East Coast of the U.S. in general was shut down on May 7th after its operator struggled to contain a cyber attack which threatened its systems. Does this sound familiar with what Klaus Schwab was talking about and giving a heads up? Yeah. The 5,500, this is just a test dose. The 5,500-mile Colonial Pipeline, which is the single largest refined products pipeline in the United States, halted transit as the company was forced to take certain systems offline to contain the threat, which has temporarily halted all pipeline operations. And as you know, what happened with that. And, by the way, from Zero Hedge, Colonial Pipeline paid hackers $5 million in crypto ransom hours after the attack. Yeah, okay. Who do you think they were affiliated with? And that $5 million figure, I hear, is way smaller than was actually paid. And when they're not using cyber warfare to attack pipelines, they have their little pet puppets doing the same thing. America last. Biden shuts down Keystone Pipeline in the United States, but waives sanctions for Putin's pipeline to Germany. That's not the only pipeline that he green-lighted. So their pet rat, the domestic pet rat, Biden, Basement Joe, he's shutting down pipelines in the United States, but allowing pipelines to occur that are under the auspices of Russia or under the Taliban in the Middle East. From Joe Heft, on his first day in office, Biden killed off an estimated 52,100 American jobs. Oh, another good day at the office for Basement Joe, huh? Biden signed several executive orders, including the end of construction of Keystone XL pipeline and the end of construction of the Trump border wall. Canceling the Keystone pipeline costs over 11,000 construction jobs and 42,100 jobs throughout the United States during the construction process, according to the U.S. State Department. At the same time, Joe Biden was promoting a pipeline project for the Taliban. And now, Biden is waiving sanctions on Putin's pipeline to Germany. You see, energy independence for a country is something the deep state does not want. Energy independence leads to enormous economic growth, enormous prosperity, and a lack of dependence on other vassal states owned and operated by the deep state. Hence, their attack on pipelines. And right here in the largest POW camp of all of North America, that be the state of Michigan, under the auspices of the Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes, the Colonel Klink, the commandant of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, she's going after a pipeline as well. Company defies Michigan governor's order to close pipeline. Good for them. The company that operates an upper Midwestern oil pipeline is rejecting Michigan Commandant Gretchen Whitmer's demand to close it. This is from Joe Flesher. An upper Midwestern oil pipeline continued operating recently, despite a shutdown demand from Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer that the operator warned could lead to fuel disruptions similar to those resulting from a cyber attack on an East Coast system. Whitmer ordered Line 5 closed last November because of the potential for a spill in a channel linking two of the Great Lakes. By the way, that pipeline's been in existence since 1953. There's never been a spill. In fact, some ships, large ships, dropped anchors right on the pipeline in the past and not a drop leaked. Plus, it's heavily monitored. I go on. Canadian pipeline company Enbridge said only the federal government has regular authority over its operations and not Gretchen Whitmer. A Michigan newspaper, the Detroit News, calls Governor Whitmer's clueless amid pipeline dispute and fuel shortages. This from James Walker. A Michigan newspaper said Governor Gretchen Whitmer appeared, quote, as if she was clueless, end quote. Well, by the way, this past weekend, we have restrictions. You can't gather in people more than groups of 6 at a restaurant, and they have to be 6 feet apart. Here she was with a dozen people moving tables together, and her excuse was, this is Whitmer doing this. I just didn't think about it. It's a recurrent theme with the commandant. A lack of thinking. The Detroit News said in an editorial that Whitmer's push to shut the Line 5 pipeline was, quote, indefensible, end quote, in the wake of the Colonial Pipeline shutdown and ensuing fuel shortages. She hasn't presented a strong case for why she should shut down infrastructure that provides 65% of the propane used by Michigan residents in the state's Upper Peninsula. Oh, well, here's her justification. Her deep state handlers told her to do that. That's why. Instead, she resorted to tone-deaf adages coined by environmental groups such as, quote, oil and water don't mix, end quote. She also suggests that jobs and the energy that people need to power their lives should be sacrificed in favor of her plan to protect a portion of the Great Lakes from an oil spill. Remember, this is the same person, Whitmer, who shut down restaurants and businesses to the point where we lost permanently 30% of restaurants in this state, permanently, and permanently lost 200,000 jobs because of her executive orders. That does not include the thousands of individuals who fell under her executive orders related to that were sent to their demise. The National Review wrote, why is Gretchen Whitmer trying to shut down an essential pipeline? The pipeline is being targeted by Whitmer's plan is the twin 20-inch diameter 4.5-mile section of Line 5 that crosses the Straits of Mackinac in upper Michigan, where Michigan's peninsulas come together. Line 5 was installed in 1953 and transports up to 540,000 barrels of light crude oil and natural gas liquids each day from Superior, Wisconsin, through Michigan and out to Sarnia in the Canadian province of Ontario. The fuel transported by Line 5 provides 55% of Michigan's statewide demand for propane. Line 5 also provides gasoline and diesel that is used throughout the entire Great Lakes region, as well as jet fuel that powers flights out of many of the region's major airports. A recent report by the Consumer Energy Alliance explains how the loss of Line 5, understand, could lead to a $20.8 billion loss in economic activity and as many as 33,755 lost jobs across the 4-state region of Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana. That's just a good day at the office for the commandant. Oh, another 37,000 jobs. One would think someone would be, oh, that's awful. She's like happy, gleeful. Why? Because she knows it pleases her deep state operators, her deep state puppeteers, such as Klaus Schwab. Canadian experts echoed concerns about, quote, a significant violent reaction economically, end quote, if the governor's closure mandate came into force, as Quebec could lose as much as 66% of its source of oil, and Ontario could lose 50%. Despite the obvious economic benefits the pipeline provides, Whitmer unilaterally revoked a nearly 70-year-old contract with Enbridge, the company that operates the pipeline. Her actions require the company to discontinue all Line 5 operations. But an ongoing lawsuit questions whether the state had the jurisdiction with Enbridge, arguing that this question must be answered before the governor's policy may go into effect. Good for them. Fight the totalitarians. And Enbridge is not alone. The company's decision to wait for a court order echoes what Michigan's Attorney General, who tends to link arms with Commandant Whitmer, because the AG is a puppet of George Soros. In a statement to the Detroit News, Lindsay Muckamel, a spokeswoman for the Attorney General in Michigan, said, quote, the jurisdictional issue will not be decided until sometime later in May. Adding, we need a court order that requires Enbridge to shut down in compliance with the notice, end quote. Ironically, there is no need to impose any of these energy restricting policies. Whitmer claims to be protecting the Great Lakes from an oil spill, but her protestations ignore the numerous safety and pressure tests the pipeline regularly passes. Additionally, her own actions have stalled the permitting processes that could both protect the Great Lakes and maintain essential energy infrastructure. You see, folks, the boot that's going to drop is focused on cyber attacks and shutting down our energy system. That is what these totalitarian thugs are about. Why do I bring this up? Because forearmed is forewarned, or forewarned is forearmed. They go hand in hand. The bottom line is we need to let them know that we know what they're up to. If you live in any of the Great Lakes, you need to contact every one of your representatives, your governors, and say, look, Commandant up in Michigan is potentially going to shut us down. And this can't last. And anyone around our country needs to contact their elected representatives and say, what's happening in Michigan isn't going to happen in this state. You got it? We're wise to what you're up to. Cut it out. And by the way, how are you going to harden the electrical grid and the energy grid to protect against this occurring? You need to contact every one of your federal representatives. Let them know you know, and you're watching them, and you're holding their feet to the fire ahead of time so that they pass the legislation and the actions to protect our country. The energy grid, the electrical grid, you name it. That you're wise to what these people want to do and are planning on doing. And in so doing, we potentially can prevent this from happening. One way to undermine the deep state is to let them know you know what they're about and what they're about to do. They're cockroaches. They don't like to be in the light. And if they think that a light is being shown on a particular event that they're involved with, they run. That's the best thing you can do. Look, we also uploaded a new video today, an Operation Freedom briefing at davejanda.com. I can no longer do them here because of YonTube's policies. So if you go to davejanda.com, that video is on the right-hand side of the homepage. It's free. Watch it and then network it to anyone you know and everyone you love. The information we provide you will never see in the bought-off lamestream fake media. I hope you'll join us for the radio show. I hope you become a subscriber to davejanda.com, where I go into depth behind the paywall that I cannot do on YonTube, Rumble, or on the radio. Why? Because there are deep state players through the senior executive service level, if you will, in the government that are implanted that will shut down a radio station, a Rumble channel, a YouTube channel across the board. This is why we do what we do behind the paywall for a very, very small price. Cost. It's there for you. Plus all the archives for all of our shows. We hope you become part of our freedom family. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.